So if I want to make her more comfortable in her final hours, then that's what I've got to do for my mum.
So she didn't say, we're going to put her on the Liverpool care pathway, and let me explain to you what it is, and also that I should be talking to your mum to see if she wants to know that this is the end.
Right.
And you and I can talk about that, you as her family, and I'd like to give you this information.
No.
As relatives, this is our information pack for relatives about the
There was
Liverpool
nothing.
care pathway.
I got a leaflet that said bereavement on it. I didn't get no end-of-life care pathway information form. I didn't get no consent form telling you we're putting your mum on the pathway. All I got was lies. And I mean lies, because what they told me in that room, it wasn't the truth. I asked the question to the doctor after the little meeting with... I had to get all the great-grandchildren, the grandchildren, into a room and tell them to go and kiss their grandma goodbye. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, because they told me she had 4 to 6 hours to live. I said, go make your peace with your grandma because she's not long left now. And I watched them kids come out of there crying and upset, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
Because they told me, she's got 4 to 6 hours to live. And after that event, I was probably a little bit shell-shocked myself because of what I've just had to do. And I asked the doctor to come in with the rest of the sisters, and they reiterate the fact that it's 4 to 6 hours, we can't see her living beyond that, and again, it's the easiest way to pass forward.
So the doctor backed up what they said?
What they said, yeah.
Okay, how old was this doctor?
I'm guessing there was 2 involved actually. A rough guess.
She was
younger than 30, maybe 25 to 30, that sort of age, maybe a bit younger. I don't really know whether.
Certainly not a. Would it be right to say she wasn't a palliative care specialist?
I wouldn't have thought she was a palliative care specialist. Would have been a doctor. I mean, it's 2 different things, obviously.
Should people ask that question?
Yes.
Are you a palliative care specialist?
I think firstly they've got to be explained to what a palliative care specialist is.
To this.
To the actual person that they're telling.
The relatives.
Yes, the relatives. They should be saying this is what a palliative care nurse or care specialist can do for you. Let me explain my position, or something in that.
But I'm saying that if a doctor comes along, it strikes me that it would be good to say, before you tell me anything, I want to know if you're a palliative care specialist.
Well, a lot of them won't be, because they are doctors.
I think it all depends on what you're actually going in for.
Yeah.
In hospital for, so it could be a chest consultant, or it could be something to do with your bones, or
But one thing I do think is that if there's a doctor there that doesn't know my mum, now my mum had been the same sort of position for the past 8 to 10 months, maybe longer. In the state that she was, so she'd never changed in that 8 to 10 months apart from the collapsed lung. So for someone to turn round to me and say she's dying, who had only known her for a week,
yes,
I find that strange. Because even her own doctor didn't know she was going to die, so how could they tell?
And the LCP, as we know now, is based on prognosis of death.
Yes.
Which a large majority of doctors say is impossible.
For me, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You start somebody on the pathway, they're not coming off it unless you say no. Nobody's ever lived and told the tale about coming off the pathway unless they've been taken off it. So for me, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
One of the things that happened on the Tuesday is my mum was begging for water and food. She was thirsty, so I phoned the palliative care specialist up, and I said, look, I'm really struggling with this because my mum's asking for water, and what we keep telling her is the nurse is coming with it, it's coming with it. And she turned round to me and says, under no circumstances must you give her any food or water, because it could make her worse. Now I said, you need to explain that to my sister, and I passed the phone over to her.
How could it make her worse?
She could choke, she could do anything,
Okay.
you know.
So nobody offered you, if I'm right, if this was a problem, nobody offered you subcutaneous fluids,
No.
No.
which are known in the hospice movement to have been used many times. Certainly Dr. Richard Lamberton says that, it's a good idea. And we also know that the thirst part of your brain, I think it's in the hippocampus, is known to work to tell you that you're thirsty right up until the end.
That's right. What we found out is on the Tuesday.
No, but palliative nurse Deborah Morris said Mum would have no feeling for food and water.
Yeah. So
She
you'd say
wouldn't
that
know.
to be a specialist, verdict, if you like. She won't. But she was asking for specific things. Mum, can you get me an ice cream?
Yeah.
Can you get me this? Can you get
me yogurt. Can you get me orange juice?
So it wasn't because she was hungry, the feeling of hunger. She knew what she wanted because she was telling us. So if that was a statement from Deborah Morris saying, that she won't have the feeling or the need for food or water, why was she asking me for specific things?
Did you ask them?
I'll get to that in a minute if you don't
Right.
mind, Nikki.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Now, on the Tuesday night, we needed a break because I was staying at the hospital overnight, and that couldn't because of a condition. She can't sit, quite a long time. She struggles, and she's also got young children at home. So I decided upon myself with my nephew that we would stay. If they're telling us that she's got a house, if I want to be there, and I want to be there in
And
case.
I'm only 5 minutes from the hospital anyway, so I can be there within a couple of minutes.
And I can ring everybody up. But there was me, there was my nephew, and there was two of my sisters who stayed there right the way through. Because, I wanted to make sure she got the best of care through not only us, but the nurses. One of the things I must state is that once they placed my mum on the Liverpool care pathway, is that the nurses then went distant.
Yes.
Okay?
Will you explain what you mean by distant?
They wasn't coming in checking everything, like they should have been. They wasn't doing obs, stats, anything like that. They just seemed to forget about it. It was left more to the family to do the caring, which, yeah, I can understand that they want to give you that bit of privacy, but my mum was still a person. My mum still needed medical attention, and she wasn't getting it. We had to ask them, can they turn it? She had a pressure sore, a beginning of a pressure sore. Now, with the pressure sore, you're supposed to be turned every half an hour. Okay? We didn't see some of them nurses for 2-3 hours. So we were manoeuvring mum, or, doing stuff for her. We were giving her, a wash, with her face and everything else. Up to an extent, it's Tuesday. She was asking that much for a drink. One of my nieces went out and said she wants a drink, we need something because she's very dry. And they came and give her an intravenous infusion, which was only saline solution. But we were worried that she was dying of thirst, okay? And she was, I think it was a litre.
And what happened after she had that?
Well, she seemed to, stabilise a little bit.
Yeah, she booked up.
Now, when that ran out, they took it away. Okay, then one of the other things that we noticed as well was that, when they place people on the pathway, if they've got any cannulas in or injection points, they remove them all. Now, this was still left in, and this is why they were able to get the intravenous, saline solution in to stop the thirst. After she came off that, they removed everything because, they wasn't going to treat her. As far as I was concerned, they wasn't going to treat her.
After she came off what?
The intravenous...
The saline.
The saline.
So they gave her a litre.
Yeah, and then she come off it. She
And
was
then
settled.
there was no more.
There's no more. Now, she was still begging, for water after that, which told me she was dry. Her mouth was very dry. And when you went to wet her lips, they said, the nurse on the ward said you can wet her lips, just her lips. But she was, if you put anything near her mouth, she was like a baby with a bottle. She was, she was sucking on it like mad, as though she was really thirsty. And this was causing me anxiety. It was really making me mad. So you know, the girls went home. I said, don't worry, I'll look after her, I'll bathe her this. And I sat there for 7.5 hours, wiping her brow, you know, cleaning her face, making sure it was moist, and then also just giving a little touch of fluid on her lips. You know, just to make sure her mouth was moist. And then through Tuesday night was doing the same thing. We were taking it in turns. I mean, I didn't sleep for 5 or 6 nights.
Can I just ask you, did they give her any other drugs during this time? You know, drugs for secretions?
Well, like it's funny that, because the secretions only really started when they put her on the Liverpool care pathway.
Yeah.
Before that, she never had any.
She never had any.